a pleasant good night, a pleasant good morning, a pleasant good evening. Wherever you are at and whenever you are about to tune in, God's presence is in this place. God's anointing can break yoke and set the captive free. God's anointing can break every chain and every shackle. And as we are about to enter into a season of destiny, as we are about to prepare our way and prepare ourselves for what God is about to do tonight. Tonight is a night where God is moving. Tonight is a night where God is about to take us to a different level, where we are about to go, where we are heading, what we are doing. And God is so awesome. God is great. God is awesome. His name is magnificent, and He is more than able. He is more than able. And we are about to launch out. We are about to go into the deep. We are about to bring everything into that place. We are actually, God, we are the clay and God is the potter. And watch now. The things that God is about to do, the things that God is preparing us for, the things that God is actually doing in our life. The enemy came to kill, to steal, and to destroy. And that is something that we must always keep in mind, that when we are about to reach heights, when we are about to go to a certain level, when we are actually growing in God, He will always send things to try to distract us. He will always send things to try to steal your blessing, to distract you from actually coming to that place and to listen. And one of the things tonight, as we begin to open our hearts and our mind to receive what God is about to send forth tonight, tonight I want you to just lift your hands and turn to somebody or say something. Look at yourself and say, what, God? Magnificent. You are awesome. You are that God. You are the God that sees it all. You are the God that knows it. You are the God that brings things into that place, God. You are the one that knows my heart. You are the one that is preparing me. You are the one that is bringing me to that place. And I was actually thinking about it this week here. I said, God, what you have for the people to hear tonight, and one of the things that the enemy trying to attack is your walk with Him. Your walk with Him, the covering. Because even today, God was telling me, He said, when it is that you cook food, right, and you don't want flies to rest on it, what you just do, you just cover it. It have a certain amount of covering. God, right now, when we start begin to walk in God, when we begin to align ourselves with Christ, when we begin to bring everything and to pray and to seek God, because the Bible said as we draw near to God, He is going to draw more to us. And one of the things that the enemy will try to do is to get you from under that covering, to take you from a level of where you are at now, to bring you at a place as far as if you could go away from Him. And one of the things that you need to understand and we need to keep in mind, and we need to remain focused and stay under the covering. The enemy will never try to attack something that he already have. Why hell will attack something that it already have? The only reason why it is that you are getting so much attacks, the only reason that we are going through so much thing, the only reason why it is that you might find certain things as difficult in your life is because the enemy just try to keep you on that place. In that place. And last week we talk about coming out of a cycle, breaking that cycle. Don't take the bait that the enemy will try to throw at you, because it have a lot of wolf in sheep clothing. It have a lot of wolf in sheep clothing. And how much are you know that, because even when it is that I look at people who was in ministry, even in our ministry, that a lot of people, and I've seen that people, prayer warriors and people who really had a power in their prayer, and they have that walk, and when they pray, you could actually feel that they could break. They pray so powerful. It has some people, when they open their mouth and they actually reach out to God, walls must come tumbling down, because they pray so powerful. There's a certain amount of anointing every one of us carry. There's a certain amount of power, that a gift inside of you, a stirring up that God wanted to sort of tap into, to give birth to. And if the enemy could try to get you away from that, Like how you see sometimes, you know, when a shepherd looking over the sheep and one of the sheep decide to go astray, what has happened? That sheep, the further that sheep go away from its shepherd, what has happened? It's at a place of, it's more vulnerable when it's by itself. But when it is that we are together and you are together and you're with your pack and you're with, surround yourself with people who actually deal with you, you know, they're supporting you. And I look at that. You see, sometimes you just have to surround yourself with people who will actually push you and keep you in that covering, because God, the devil trying to take you out of that covering. He's trying to pull you as far as you could go away from God. And self-condemnation is something that a lot of people, you know, struggling with right now, because they feel like, you know, that, you know, sometimes when we fall short, or you might do something, you pray about something, and you totally get out of that, you know. But God is a God of restoration. He's a God that has most patience, you know. He know how, you know, how He built us. And in order for us to get that place of who we are and what God called us to do and what is actually our purpose, we had to go to that manufacturer, that is God Himself, you know. Go and stay under that covering, because the enemy cannot touch you. The more you get closer to God, the harder it is for him to touch you, because the more you pray, the more you reach out to your God, the more you remain focused, the more you get done. Because a lot of times, sometimes if it is that, I have seen this, where sometimes you might plan to go to church because you want to, you know, a lot of people, you know, you want to go to your ministry, you get ready and you say, you know what, I'm going this Sunday. And anytime you try to do good, evil will always present itself. Because every time you try to go to your manufacturer, there's a lot of things that the enemy will try to send. And he wouldn't just use strangers around, you know. He will use people who could get you at a vulnerable point to try to break it, to try to mash you up, to try to actually to mess up with your mind and your heart and the way you view yourself, you know. And certain things you need to start to know how to get away from. And that is a message that I keep bringing across to the people, because it's very important according to who you surround yourself with. It has a lot to do with your growth. It has a lot to do with the people, the voices that you're allowing to get into your ear. It has a lot to do with that. And one of the things that the enemy will try to do is bring you at a point of losing who you are, not knowing who you are. Because the more you are in tune with yourself, the more you are in tune with who you are and you recognize your role, the prayer that you have, you know, the faith that you have, you know that if you put your mind to do something, you are going to do it. And the enemy will try to cut you down to size. He will always try to attack you because he wants you. He wants. They're arguing, you know. They want to eat at each other's throat, you know. And you see division, you know, separation. That is what the enemy is trying to do, to separate people, to bring people apart from each other. Because he know that the further we are from each other, is the more that sheep, that particular person is open and being attacked. You know, and he will try to bring you at a point in your life where you just want to isolate yourself, because you feel that, you know. And one of the things that you had to pay attention to, because you can't allow Peter to pay for Paul and Paul pay for all, because just as how the enemy will send people, God will send people in your life too. And sometimes because you were so hurt, you get so discouraged with people, you know, and that is something that is really eat you up. And you see when you try, and you try so hard with people, and you try to get, you know, you say, you know what, boy, let me give this one a chance. Let me do something. Let me actually, you know, let this person in. And sometimes you had a real pray. You had a real pray about every person that's in your life, you know, every single thing. And one thing I always say, I say pray about every single thing. People start coming into your life, new people, pray about them, because you want God to give you the spirit of discernment to learn now how to choose to make better decisions, because the enemy out to make you lose yourself. So, because what good is it for me to reach where I want to reach and lose who I am? And that's what the enemy wants. He wanted to lose who you are, to doubt who you are, to question yourself. You know, sometimes you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, Lord, why me? You know, why I going through so much of things? Why every single time I try to get back up on my feet, it's always something trying to knock me down? Sometimes you have to ask yourself the question, then the enemy really trying, is something about me that the enemy trying to stop? Why will hell attack something that it already have? The enemy are going and attack something that he don't have. There is something that you have that the enemy after, and you have to be wise enough to understand that you need to draw closer to God, to remain under that covering, because the further the enemy can take you away from it, because sometimes watching a lot of people, you know, I understand a lot of people going through a lot of church hurt, because you know plenty people who say they was leaders, they manipulate the system. But we had to recognize and say, you know what, not every church is the same. You know, and one of the things that I know, I understand people, because I have seen where people fall away. I have seen where people, you know, they backslide, you know, they went so far away from God. You know, it had this person who I know, right? She was real strong in her prayer. You know, when she prayed, watch now, it was real good. She was so powerful, and she ended up going through a real discouraging time in her life, you know, with, you know, one of her best friends ended up real hurting her, and she ended up leaving the ministry, and she kind of like backslide. She fall away from God. You know, she stopped, you know, coming. She stopped doing a lot of things, you know, and it had a time when it is that just so out of the blues, she just started getting a pain in her neck. And when she started getting a pain in her neck, she went to the ambulance, you know. The ambulance came and picked her up to carry her to the hospital, and on her way to the hospital, a vein burst in her head, and she passed away before she could even reach to the hospital. And this best friend, you know, she always wanted to reach out to her, you know, to make things better, you know. And she sat down when she heard the news that this person passed away, you know, the vein burst in her head, you know, and she passed away. And she said, God, how could you just take somebody, you know, like that, you know, and somebody so young, and, you know, all these questions she had in she mind. And he told her that she was too far away from she purpose. She was too far away from she purpose. So, you know, time up. How much time in your life, you know, you will find yourself going through the same things over and over, spinning top in mud, trying to come out of certain thing, because the enemy have a way of keeping you in that kind of cycle. And last week we talk about the bait. We talk about that, how much time you just want to go back to that same thing that making you cry. How much time you will go back to that same thing that could make you bringing tears to your eye, that you know it's not good for you, but yet still you're still going back there. One of the things that the enemy would try to do is to cause it to seek approval, because nobody like to be rejected. Nobody like rejection. We don't like rejection. Rejection is something that is real hurt you. You see, when it is that you love a person and you appreciate a person and they reject you and they don't want you anymore. I've seen where people was in a relationship and all of a sudden that person turned and look at them in the face and say, you know what, I don't love you anymore, you know. Nothing nothing could destroy a person and looking at the person who once tell you that they love you, who once tell you that they there for you, who once tell you that, you know what, I appreciate you, this or that for you, and then all of a sudden, when things, pressure start to happen now, they run, they go on, they leave you. And that is one thing I have seen where the enemy tried to, a lot of people, he destroyed with that bait, with that and that feeling of rejection, and mash up people's heart, you know. And up to now, it's hard for them to recover from it, you know. It's hard for them to recover, because healing is a process. Healing is something that takes time. It's not something that happens overnight. And you see, when you was in a relationship or you was around people that was so toxic to you, and they do a lot. It's a lot of in-depth inner damage inside of your heart, that it takes a lot, that God had to work on it, because it's a lot of things that he will try to, he wanted that when you reached up your ladder, that it have nothing that the enemy could do to pull you away from under that covering. Because God wanted to find who you are in him. And that healing process, sometimes it will take years to actually unravel things. Sometimes you may not feel hurt. Some people overcome without feeling. Some people suppress it. Some people, they try to divert it with something else. They push it somewhere to the side in the closet, and they didn't really fully deal with it. And they try to distract themselves with other things. How much time in your life you try to you jump from one relationship to the next relationship using a rebound? How much time? And one of the things that I know is the rebound, it don't work. Because you can't go into a new relationship with old things in your life and old baggages. You can't take that old self and go into something new, because that same you, if you are not totally healed and you are not totally restored, and you didn't give yourself enough time to process where you at, you will self-sabotage that thing what God trying to send in your life. And you have to reach a point in your life where you say, you know what, Lord? The journey may be rough, but I want to reach a point in my life, God, that when the enemy try to throw things at me, I will easily cling to certain things. That the parts in me, because sometimes even, sometimes growing up as a child, you didn't get certain things. So you try to use certain things to comfort certain area when God wants to comfort you. God wants to heal every part of you, He wants to restore everything in you, And it takes time to do that. That is why sometimes you might fall short in certain areas. Nobody perfect. We are not perfect. We will fall short. But it doesn't put you at a point where you can go to God and say, no, Lord, I'm real weak in this area. And don't just say it and use it as a cover up and keep putting a plaster and using that and say, no, what I'm real weak in this area, but God will help me to know you. Something you have to put in the work. You have to put in the work and try to control certain parts of you. You have an anger problem, try to control that. You're always getting into a place where the enemy will send you into your own self. Sometimes when it is locked into your own thoughts, and you reach a point in your life where you're just so depressed, you're so hurt, you're so fed up, you're so tired, and you're just going into your own self in a dark room by yourself, and it's just you and your thoughts. Sometimes you have to shake that off when it comes at you. Because the enemy will try to use that now to get you away from God, when you know that, you know what, Lord, you are my healer. You are the one that will bring things together in my life. You are the one that will heal me from this. And I know that you will begin, as I begin to align myself with you, Lord, you will sort of send the right set of people. How will you know who is the right set of people? The spirit of discernment. Don't allow the enemy to make you lose yourself. Don't allow the enemy to bring you to a point where you lose who you are. Hold on to who you are, who God called to be. Stay under that covering. Pray, reach out to God, and don't allow the enemy to try to pull you back into old things and relationships that causing you pain. People who disrespecting you. When you allow somebody to disrespect you and you don't stand up for yourself, you giving them the authority to disrespect you. If somebody come and want to call you foolish and dumb and this and names and all these kind of things, that is a disrespect. When you allow people to disrespect you and you don't say anything, you already give them the permission to talk to you however they want to. And you have to reach a point in your life where you stand up for yourself and say no. And not just that, sometimes the way you carry about yourself and all too will show people that, you know what, that person real easy going. They're real easy. You know what, they could, how it hang, it swing with them. So you know what, they wouldn't even respect you. So how you live, how you operate, the energy you put out, have a lot to do with how people view you. And that is something that you need to get under control. Because you don't want people to disrespect who you are. Don't even allow your kids to disrespect you as a mother and father, And I have seen where children want to talk up to their parents, talk up to their grandparents nowadays. And they're doing anything about it. These are the upcoming generation to come. These are the youths in this generation. When it is that, the parents are the one. I understand you say, you make the child, but you can't control the mind. But you can guide that mind. You can guide the mind from young. And say, what, let me sit down, have a meeting here. This is what's going on in this house. I am not going to be doing everything in this house. Give them chores. And that's how I grew up. We grew up like that. We grew up with young, they show you how to wash the dishes. Young, they show you how to clean the living room, fix the couch, put things in place. You play with your toys, pick up your toys and put it back away. All these things you need to teach them, because when you are no longer there, what will happen? And they say it all starts from the inside. And I was having a conversation like that with someone. It starts from the home. It starts from you teaching them responsibility. Teach them from a young age how to be more responsible. How to handle themselves, so when they reach older they could cook. They know how to make roti. They know how to make choka. They know how to make lunch and breakfast. They could handle themselves. Nobody could bust style on them. And these are the things that we need to bring back into this generation. No. Because you can't wait until later. You had to start from now. Teach them how to wash their own clothes and stuff. Wash your clothes. This is how you just put it. You put the detergent here. However it is that you just handle your story. Show them how to do these things. Because eventually, when it is that they reach older, they will disrespect you. They won't even want to do it. And now everybody on their phone. Everybody on the phone. Nobody don't really eat by the table again. They go and they're on the phone, or everybody just separate. Because the enemy know the more he could separate a family, the more he could isolate people. He could get them idle enough to put things in their path that could distract them from the actual calling and the actual purpose why they was created. And one of the things that we need to do, we need that unity, we need that togetherness, we need to bring back that kind of family love, that kind of place where, people, now they're just all over the place. Fighting for land, house, this, that. You come in 1 inch in the land, they want to chop your head off for that. They want to eat down your throat because you come in 1 inch in the land. When it is that we had to reach a point in our life where God, and it starts with us. It starts with you. It starts with you. However, whatever you take in, whatever you feed is what will grow. And these are the things that we need to pay attention to, because the enemy wants you to divide. He want to create a separation. And these are something that we need to pay attention to. Don't allow the enemy to bring you from that covering, or to corrupt your standards and your morals and how you respect yourself, and how you do things, and you have to have self-respect. You must have self-respect. How you dress, how you look, everything about you. You don't have to represent where you're going, where you want to reach. Because you are the head and not the tail. And God wanted to reach at that point to remember who you are. Remember who you are and what you want. Don't lose yourself. Keep seeking God. The closer you get to the manufacturer, the more you will learn about the product. You are God's product. You are God's greatest creation. You were born, to me, you was created to be filled with joy, to smile, to appreciate yourself. To wake up in the morning and you don't always get up 100% happy and you're jolly. You have your situation, you have things, but in the midst of all the trials and tribulations and your testings, you still give God the glory. You still give God thanks. You still wake up and you say, no, Lord, I know that it won't always be like this. And I'm taking steps to make sure that it won't always be like this, because faith without works is dead. And God wanted to begin as you take small steps constantly. God will begin to show you. He will begin to transform you. He will begin to teach you. And you need to learn, because God is doing a work in your life. And people will come in. All kind of people. When you start to go up into that level, the enemy will send all kind of things. He will send things that you used to be attached to. You was attracted to. You was attracted to that particular type of people. You know, he will send people like that to kind of, you know, to keep you in that way. But you know, you had to know how to change things around. Look around, watch yourself, watch the things that keeping you in that same place when you're supposed to be growing. If right now you can look at yourself and say, you know what? If you by now can't see a growth, then you know you ain't doing something that you ain't doing right. Because by now you're supposed to say to yourself, you know what? I may not be where I need to be today, but I thank God that I'm not where I used to be, because I've seen growth in my life. I have seen that God transform me. I have seen, due to the messages, due to what God has been bringing out. And love and inspirational quotes is something that wants to bring forth transformation to the people, you know. Awareness into who you are and who God called it to be. And how to stay under that covering. To tap in into that man and woman that God called it to be. To recognize and to know that you don't remain there. Grace is sufficient. God wouldn't vex with you, and you know, he's a loving God. He's a God that he wanted to come to him. He's a God that he will leave the 99 just to go back for that one sheep. That you just ain't getting to, getting to put it together. Pray and talk to God tonight and say, Lord, help me through everything. Because it makes no sense getting there. What's the sense getting there and losing me? I want to begin to stand up for me. I want to begin not to allow disrespect, not to allow certain things in my life to make me feel like I don't have the authority. Know who you are, know your role, know where you stand, know your authority, know what God placed inside of you. And don't allow your past failures and your past mistakes to stop you from becoming better. That was the old you. This is you now. And you are improving, you are doing self-development. Once you are actually praying and you are aware of where you stand and what you need to work on, that is good. Because you can never change if you see that there's a change that needs to be made. You must recognize that there is a change that needs to take place in you. And when you can recognize that, you open a door for God now to show you and to teach you what he wants to teach you. Surrender everything to God. And watch, and you will see this year, God is going to begin to align you. Don't lose yourself. Stay under that covering. The enemy tried to send people to bring you as far as he could, you know. Hurt, discouragement, rejection, all kind of things he's sending your way. And you know what? But God keep you. God keep you. There are certain things in your life that you probably went through that could have put you in the grave because the stress was so bad. It was so strong. Your head could have burst. But you know what? God keep you. How much time God show you what he had to show you to help you or to protect you from making bad decisions? How much time? And once you could see in your early relationships and your early friendship who for you, is a good thing. Because you rather see it now than later. It is hurt when you love a person or you care about a person and they leave, but you hadn't been strong enough to say, you know what, Lord? Thank you for the lesson, and I want the best in store for my life, because I can't continuously feed certain things in my life because I want to reach a certain place with you, Lord. So whatever it is that you had been through, let that experience, let that lesson teach you something enough that you could say, you know what, I'm not going down that road anymore. I will use that to teach other people, to help other people, because your testing will become your testimony. So hold strong tonight. Let tomorrow's a holiday. Enjoy it with your family. Enjoy it with yourself. Take a rest. Those who still have to work, you go tomorrow. You go with a good vibe. You go with a strength inside of you. You go and you go with God. You put God at the center of your business. You put God at the center of your heart. You put God at the center of every single thing. That this week is going to be greater than last week. Keep declaring the goodness of God. Keep praying. Keep holding strong. Healing takes time. And you are getting there. Small steps constantly and you will reach up that mountain. Don't allow anything to steal your joy. Don't allow any person or anybody to cause you to lose yourself or to doubt who you are. Know that you are beautiful. Know that you are wonderfully made. You know that God has created you and you want. Don't go to people to ask them about who you is. Go to the manufacturer himself. Go to your Lord and say, God, I lose myself. I lose myself in this relationship. I lose myself in this friendship. I lost a touch. I out of touch with what it is that what I forget, I went astray or whatever, Lord, I allow distractions to make me shift my focus, help me to focus back. Tell God as it is. Be open with Him. Put everything on the table and know that God, He will, like how the prodigal son, as a father, He will open His arms just because you come back to Him. Just because you recognize and you say, know what, Lord, I cannot do this without you. And draw closer. Stay under that covering. You have a good pastor, stay under that covering. Be faithful. On behalf of the End Time Prophetic Deliverance Tabernacle, I leave my love with you. Be faithful. Be faithful. Trust God and hold on to Him. He's doing a work in your life. You must know what is for you. You must know because you just feel it. You will feel at peace with it. Even if you try to forget it, it will always be in your mind. God doing a work in your life. Let God do what He has to do in you. You do your best and let God do the rest. Don't try to handle what only God could fix. Don't try to fix something that only God could handle, because there are certain things that God wants you to step back a little bit and let Him do the work. Let God do the work for you. Let God show you. Let God open your eyes. And hold on to who you are and know and remember who you are. You are beautiful, unique, handsome, amazing, unique, awesome, God's greatest creation. Do what you need to do to make you happy, because the only person that could stop you is yourself. Nobody could stop it. People will try to come to delay. People will try to come to hurt you. People will try to come with all kind of things. But you are the only one could allow certain things to continue in your life. You could allow disrespect. You could allow people to step on you. You could allow to take the shortest end of the stick. Only you could allow to take what people give you. But you had to know what you're worth, so you will know, I'm good. I'm good with what is. So with this, I hope that this word bless your heart. I hope that you're not going to leave here the way you came in. That what strength will be restored in your life. A peace. I declare a peace over your mind, over your family, over your kids, over your home, that you will begin to put things in place. You will begin to focus and to allow God to guide you through this process of destiny, to reaching over your mountains and actually getting there and becoming who God meant for you to become. So be strong tonight. Go tomorrow with that. Get up in the morning with expecting, great things. Get up in the morning declaring great things. Declare good things over your life. That it's not going to always be like this. If you're going through a hurting season right now, and you're hurting, and you feel like what's wrong, and that's the thing about it, when you get a cut, or you look at, like we say something happened, you get a little bruise on your hand, you will look at it and you'll say, what, just now it will pass. But when you get hurt on the inside, it's something that you don't see. You will just feel it. But one of the things that you had to begin to do, and I want you to do, if you are that person that's going through a healing right now, and you're hurting right now, wake up in the morning and keep saying, you know, Lord, it will always be like this. It will pass. It will pass. Heal me. Heal me. Pray. Reach out to God. Ask God to show you how to let go of certain things. You know, how to let go of certain things. Even sometimes, you know, you might have to accept the fact that, you know, Lord, I allow this. You tell me to let go. You tell me to move away. You tell me to do certain things and I refuse to listen. And I you know, allow more damage to be done. You know, and, you know, you sometimes I tell yourself that, you know, forgive yourself for allowing certain things, you know, to continue for so long. You know, because they just thought that they could have changed. They just thought that they could have do it right this time. They just thought that if they do it different, that it might have changed. But you know what? One of the things that you had to understand is that you could never change a person. That is for God to do. You cannot change a person. You cannot force them to make a decision. You can only tell them, say how you feel, give your opinion, but at the end of the day, it's the person's choice on what them want to do. Your choice is your choice. A person's choice is their choice. It's the power of choice. Free will to choose. And it hurts. But you know what? God is going to make up for everything that you have lost. It's not the end of the world, even though sometimes it just feels so when you're going through a certain type of hurt, according to what level and how deep it is. It may feel impossible, but it's never impossible, because we serve a God that makes things possible. We serve a God like that, and He knows your heart. He knows your heart. He knows what He has for you. He knows what He protecting you from. He knows what He wants to send in your life. And let that, hold on to that. Hold on to knowing that God will send better your way. God will send better your way. And get up with that joy, knowing that, you know what, Lord? I thank you for this word tonight. I thank you for this word tonight, because what is the sense getting there and losing myself? Stay under that covering, that protection of God, that peace of God, that joy of God, and dwell in that with Him, and watch on. You will see how He will help you to decide to make right decisions. He will put in your spirit what you need to do. And listen, listen to Him. Sometimes just be in that quiet and say, Lord, speak to me. Speak to me. Woman of God, man of God, you are going to get through this. You are going to get up there. You are a born winner. You are more than a conqueror. God is fighting for you. He is actually in this with you. And God is the pilot in everything. He's the one that is driving you. He's the one that will guide you, and put Him at the center of everything. So tonight, go to sleep with this peace. Go to sleep with this strength. Go to sleep with this reminder, knowing that the enemy will always try all how to bring things in your way to distract you. But you have to remember, remain focused. Remain focused. Focus. Focus on the better. Focus on the greater. Focus. Press towards the mark of the higher calling. That vision, that goal, what you're doing, why you're doing what you're doing. And we learn now Wednesday, your why needs to be strong enough to remind you sometimes in trials and tribulation, why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you? Remember, and keep your eyes there. Keep your eyes there and focus. Focus. Remain focused. So, tonight, I want to say, I appreciate all those who help us to get the word across. He will put you first. So you know what? I thank you and appreciate every one of you who comment, who reach out, those who send in their prayer requests. We have a list of all those who comment and they send in their prayer requests. We have those things. And I want to remind you, that you are appreciated, you are loved, You have people, our team always constantly pray for everyone. The goodness of God, remember how the God placed in you. So stay blessed. I love you, God loves you. We thank you for tuning in. We thank you for taking the time every Sunday to listen. And I hope that these messages impact you in some way able to do everything. And whatever the enemy meant for evil, God is going to turn it around for your good. So I love you all. I appreciate you all, and I thank you all for your support. And